you're old enough, like your parents, you're too young to understand things, they say, but then you're old enough automatically when they want you to do something. Like, yeah. Okay. Well, I was 6 when my parents told me this big burden, just 5 words, and it like followed me for the rest of my life. And it was, we are getting a divorce. Go ahead, count on your fingers because somebody's been trying to do it. My life was a wreck, and my parents were like, they didn't really try to help me out at all, like understand it. They just kind of did it so fast. And so I was constantly living in 2 different houses. Me and my mom moved a lot. My dad and me stayed in the same house, so I basically lived out of bags my whole life. I still do now. I bring a bag to school every day. I have to bring a bag from my mom's house to my dad's house because I don't have clothes in my dad's house, which is kind of hard to have clothes in your dad's house because my mom's house is really my home, and because my dog is there, and yeah. On my birthday, I would always constantly wish for my parents to get back together, but it never really worked out. And I'm actually really lucky to have a family that they can hang out with each other and be around each other and not get in fights. But a lot of parents, they can't even stand to be in the same county. They have to live far away, and kids have to drive really far just to go see their parents. I always felt like this picture describes the way I felt because my parents, they didn't know they felt like that I felt like this until I told them when I got older. But I constantly felt like they wanted me to choose one or the other, and so that's why this picture really describes me. Me and my mom constantly argue all the time, and I feel like if she can lose love for my dad, then she could lose love for me very easily. The choice, they didn't really want me to choose, but I felt like when I was littler, I thought that I had to choose a parent that I wanted to live with, but they never like I said, I've communicated with them since on how I feel, and so they basically I always felt like they wanted me to choose living with one parent or the other, and so my dad and my mom are going through money problems, and so because they have to support their own, they aren't supporting each other anymore, and one house and one car and stuff like that. Well, parents use 2 cars, but they are paying separate things, and so now they're both having to pay for me, and so money's really tight, and you're constantly hearing about child support because now your parents aren't paying as one. So this is my mom, me, and my soon-to-be stepdad. They're getting married this summer. It was hard at first when I was really little to have another man in my life, and see my mom love another man, have the same look that she had when I was little, that she looked at my dad with. So it's just really hard. Try not to get emotional. So yeah, it's seeing other families, when I was little, and I would go to my best friend's house. You guys probably know her, Taylor Beckman. Her family is really close, and I always wanted a family like that. But now that I've gotten older, I kind of understand that not all families is perfect. They all have their flaws. And I remember when I was little, I used to go home and cry to my mom and ask her why, and why our family isn't normal. And I don't understand. My dad, just didn't really work out, I guess. This represents what I carry around all the time. It's a Thacker box. Ever since I started 6th grade, middle school, I basically felt it physically. I started going to the chiropractor monthly because all the stress from homework and home just built up so much. It kills me. It hurts, and yeah. So what gets me through this is my Nana. That's me, my Nana. We went to Disney World over winter break, I think? Yeah, winter break. She's like my mom, pretty much. When me and my mom go through money struggles, she's always there for me. And when we were DC, she helped me pay for DC. And like, she's just always there for me, and I know that, like, if something happens, I have someone. That's my cousin Grace and my uncle Rick, and that's me. That's her stepdad. We went through the same thing. We're 7 months apart, and her family went through it before me, like before mine. And she doesn't remember her parents together, which I think is better, because now you don't have, like, when I saw my parents together, I don't have, like, well, I see, like, my parents together when my mom's with her fiance, so it's kind of, like, hard for me, because I know what my mom used to look like with my dad, and it's just not right, but, so, yeah, it's my cousin Grace. The main thing that got me through this is my dog. He's been with me since I was little, like, really little. I can't remember when it didn't happen. His name is Snickers, and where I am, he is. So he's basically my home no matter what happened, no matter where me and my mom lived. My friends and my family are, well, I consider my friends as my family since I never really had, like, a major 100% like family that, like, was always there. So we went through some rough times, but I consider my friends as family. But, like, it's the main thing that I've lost from this whole thing was, like, being able to trust people and letting my guard down. It's kind of hard because I feel like I'm going to go through the same thing and lose my friends, and it's just really hard for me to do that. So why am I telling you guys this? It's the fact that I'm not alone, and 50% of all marriages in America are end in divorce. And think about that. Like, half of, like, America right now is ending in divorce. And 23% of that are single parents with children under 18. And I am in that 23% of America. And that's just crazy because, I mean, think about it. It's a lot of people. It is sad that this is becoming a normal thing to do in a generation ruining kids' lives, being selfish and doing what they want to do, not even trying to compromise for their kids. Which my parents did, but a lot of parents don't try to compromise. Most divorced parents didn't even have divorced parents when they were young. So they didn't know the long-term effects of divorce, physically and mostly mentally. In the younger kids, there can be separation anxieties, crying bedtimes, breaking toilet training, bedwetting, cleaning, whining, tantrums, and on. And in this way, they are just trying to get their parents' attention. It is hard to hear your loved ones nag or about one or the other when you love them both. Like, my parents, they are really good friends and they can hang out and talk to each other, but when there's money struggles, you always hear, like, oh, this person did that, or this person did that. And so it's really hard for me to hear my mom talk bad about my dad, or my dad talk bad about my mom. And I just feel like it's not right for them to talk bad about, like, them right in front of me, because I love them. Studies have shown that, like, parents divorced were more likely to suffer from depression when they grow up than those whose parents who died. So basically what it's saying is, like, studies shown that, like, when kids go through more depression than kids go more through depression with, like, parents that are divorced because they live with, like, their parents and they, like, solve through this and they have, like, an imagination of what it looks like because they actually went through it than kids that died or their parents that died. So, in a survey of 2,867 people nationwide aged of 25 or older, highest rates of adult depression, which were found among those who grew up and affected by divorce. Teens act out and also have internalized problems such as anxiety, depression, less socially responsible, becoming sexually active, and at earlier ages they can take drugs. Some ways to cope with divorce would be planning, like, just having, like, fun with your parents, planning time with them, like my parents do. I try to see my dad almost every other day, but sometimes it'll go, like, on for a month because of his work and trying just, like, to make money. Like, right now we're going through a lot of money struggles because of, like, all this stuff. It just doesn't even play with divorce. It's just a lot of money struggles, and he's just trying to support me and him, and it's really hard. So making sure you have communication with your parents is, like, the main thing, even if your parents aren't even divorced. If, like, you just really need to have a really good communication with them. So I myself like always talk to my mom about everything, and we try to like talk about after arguments. I'll come apologize to her. She'll come apologize to me. Staying involved, like trying to eat dinner. Like me and my mom try to have at least 2 or 3 sit-down dinners during a week with my stepdad, well, soon to me. Like trying to like look this up and connecting with other people and talking to other people. Imagine asking yourself these questions every day. What is going on? What is going to happen to me? Who will take care of me? If my parents can lose love for each other, can they lose love for me? What with one parent moving out, will I lose the other two? Would you want your kids in the future asking this? This is happening every day in the U.S. Kids suffer every day from their parents' choices. When I come home and not see my dad, sometimes I wish that everything was normal. But if this never happened to me, I'd probably make the same mistakes. And I just thank God that every day He helps me through this and that He made something good out of this. For this, I'm going to marry one I truly love and wait to have kids, so I know that that person will be there through thick and thin, and I will not put my kids through this. So make wise choices, or the people in the future might be really hurt by your slightest mistake.